The bad news is that we still have schools that have a great deal of inequity. We have a huge number of low-income and minority students generally who are not getting an equitable education and who are not getting the passport to the American dream and the key to the future that you and I would want for our children. What are the reasons for inequity? Well, certainly it's easier to have a great school if you have a lot of money. It's easier. However, I have seen excellent schools that were in underfunded school districts as well. Having strong administrative leadership and strong professional teachers, there's no replacement for that. That's the key to good schools.
That is the way that I get my teachers to be effective, is by having real relationships with them and trusting them so that if they make a mistake, they know it's okay. I know they're making the mistake out of an effort to be innovative.
Almost every person you've ever met can name the teacher that made a difference in their life.
Sitting right over there in that classroom, I wanted to be a U.S. history teacher because I had an excellent U.S. history teacher.
Out of the last 10 teachers that I've hired brand new out of school, 6 out of 10 were former graduates.
Most people who teach here, the younger crowd I went to high school with, and the older crowd actually taught me.
And for me to spend my life each day giving back to that community, I couldn't think of a better way to spend my life.
You can't fix a school and make positive things happen unless you're making positive things happen as a community. One of the intentional things that we do as a faculty is not stand guard, but have a seat, mix in with the students, talk with the students.
So you sit with them?
Yeah, there's Mr. Perry, one of the teachers, headed out the door with his plate. They're going to sit with, talk with, mingle with the kids.
There is one bit of research that says that the really good teacher will say that she's been a teacher since day one, that she or he lined up the dolls or lined up the younger brothers and sisters or the playmates and began teaching them.
I wanted to teach from a very young age. When I started kindergarten, since then, that's all that I've ever wanted to do.
I knew when I was very little, I've always wanted to teach. As soon as I arrived home off the bus, I started teaching my cousin.
North Carolina Teaching Fellows was one of the most promising programs for public education that I've ever seen. And the Teaching Fellows teachers were they were incredible in the classroom.
I was North Carolina Teaching Fellow. This was where I wanted to be. And you know, things didn't work out that way. I ended up somewhere else first, but I got back home.
My very best teachers in those schools, they also, they've got a really firm grasp of classroom management in their classrooms. And it's not a situation where it's, they don't have all these rules that the kids have to follow, and that it's an atmosphere of, the military, you're in a prison. It's not, but at the same time, they have expectations for the way things are supposed to happen and occur, and they're fair and they're consistent and they treat the kids with respect, and the kids respond.
I have 2 kids at home that are my own, but then I have another 460 some here that are mine. And I think you've got to have that ownership in a child to say, when you're here, you are my child, and I'm going to do what's best for you while you're here.
I think that, we've come to realize that teachers do need more content knowledge, especially if we're going to have higher standards for students. Then we're going to need higher standards for our pre-service teachers.
We're right around 62-65% Hispanic. So that's a little bit of a different dynamic that you're dealing with. About 89-90% free and reduced, so very high poverty level.
The thing about testing makes everybody look like this, and everybody doesn't look like this. We're all unique, we all have unique qualities, and I try to tell them that whatever is in here, whatever you are made to express, that's what you are.
To make learning fun. If it isn't fun, why would they want to be here? And if we lose them this early, then we're setting them up for failure later on, and that's just not fair. That's not what our job is.
A teacher teaches from her heart. She's got to have a big heart, because not only is she an educator, she's a nurse, she's a mother, she's a sister, she's a guidance counselor.
And I always tell people to take my hat off to Miss Purvis. She's always a friend, a boss man, and a mother.
Miss Bullard has been amazing. She's been and I've told her this, the principal, she should have gotten Principal of the Year to me because she has treated me. She knows how it is to walk in my shoes.
We have to be able to make mistakes to have success. Our kids do too.
You have to love your kids. You have to want them to be successful. You have to love what you do. Loving whatever they do. Going to ball games, going to, plays and musicals and staying after school and helping them just learn basics, That's what makes a good teacher.
If they can't think and apply and problem solve, all the content in the world is not going to make them successful.
Try to help them towards their goals as they go towards college.
The rewards of being a teacher, it's not the money.
Learning every day. I mean, every day I learn something new.
Money is an issue these days, and there's not a lot of money out there, especially depending on where you're located.
When I hear of my kids being successful out in the world and at college, that's all I need.
I'm a nuts and bolts kind of girl. I grew up on a farm, and seeing that the students are succeeding, and they come back and they tell me, Miss Morris, my engineering class at State, those projects are the same ones we did in your class.
They have now in them that they want to be learners after school hours, in the summer, like for the rest of their lives. You start to hear them talk about goals. That's rewarding, especially when you know some of the circumstances that they may be coming from.
I really enjoy hearing about what they've become. I've got preachers, teachers, the social worker at the school I taught. I have assistant principals in this county, the supervisor for the maintenance department I taught. I have a doctor in Mexico.
And the children, they're just so sweet. We have very seldom do we have a discipline problem.
We are very, we're very lucky here. We have some great students. I mean,
just this morning, I was driving up for the second morning, and I have a young man who arrives a bit early in the morning. And as I drove by yesterday and today, I noticed that he was out here pulling grass out of the landscape. No one had asked him to do that.
Class president. I play sports. I run track. I play football.
I'm the student body president here at Northmore.
I plan to attend East Carolina University and studying elementary education.
I want to get my doctorate in psychology.
I play football. I'm more of an outdoors type person. I love to lift weights. I got a big family, and I just love school.
So far, I like band and orchestra more than any of the core subjects, but if it was to be a core subject, I love science and math.
I got two, science and history.
What's your favorite subject in school?
Probably math.
Okay.
I play 6 instruments. I like doing an orchestra because I love learning how to play instruments.
I play violin and the clarinet.
I just want to be a music producer.
Are you in the band?
Yeah, I'm in band and orchestra.
Okay.
Last year we had 85% of the graduating class head on to college, which was terrific. Wow. 3% military, and the rest headed to a job.
Yes, I'm planning on doing 2 years at Randolph for engineering. Nice school.
Yeah, I'm going to Clemson next year. Yeah.
What are you going to study?
Biology and music.
To study computer science and software engineering.
I'm going to Sand Hills Community College. I am getting my bachelor's degree in nursing through Pembroke at Sand Hills.
I'm attending East Carolina University, majoring in biology.
All right.
I have plenty of emails from my counselors, Mr. Brown, Ms. Purvis, telling me to sign up for scholarships.
A great teacher to me is somebody that actually understands where we come from as people. And here at Northmore, we actually have the opportunity to have the teachers that live right here with us and know what we go through every day.
And that shows that they care, that they want you to move on, even if they're strict or with all the homework and all that they show you that they want you to get somewhere.
Everybody knows you and your sister.
I'm a child out of 6, and right now college is what I'm aiming for. I know it's really hard for my parents to try and help me, afford it, but there's always help everywhere. And my teachers, they help me look for scholarships, and they're really the support I need.
I like Mr. Berger and Mr. Cox and Miss Covington.
I would like to point out my math teacher, Mr. Fury. He's a great teacher.
Well, I think it would be Miss Purvis, my principal.
My favorite here, Miss Beane, and I like Miss Peralta.
Yes, Mr. Morris, he's awesome. I like him.
Miss Crystal.
What does she teach?
She's social studies.
No, everybody's pretty much great, but my English teacher's really, really good. So,
What's his or her name?
Mrs. Beane.
Well, I think what makes a good teacher is a fun, a caring, and rewarding teacher.
Well, she needs to be caring about the students. She needs to love her job and to be really fun and make learning fun.
I would like to tell them that if they come here, they'll have like the best experience ever.
In the last 3 years, all the kids that I've ever sent home, I've never had a parent that didn't understand why and that didn't support the school and say, you know, we support you, my student will do better and they'll be back, Ms. Purvis, to be a positive for your school.
The teachers that my son has now are excellent.
We always need to have a focus on helping our kids understand, if you choose to come back here and live, in what way are you going to contribute?
Being able to come away with college credits and stuff that was not here when I was in high school.
My experience at Northmore, I mean, it was a great experience. I came in right after desegregation. During that period, you know, people expecting trouble. I can honestly say it's been one of the greatest experiences of my life. I can't imagine going to any other high school.
Our teachers have big hearts.
We're small in number, but we're big in heart.
Northmore High School comes from a very tight, how you guys say here, a tight-knit community.
Y vine por un cambio de vida.
She came here searching for a change in life. And my daughter, the first year, was not that happy that she was moved from her friends, but the second year she said, Mom, you know, I really like that it feels like a family. Everybody talk to everybody. You don't see the segregation. You see kids, every color, every culture, talking together.
Maestros
that the teachers
están bien aquí porque
are good here.
What if the teacher of the year and the principal of the year was a voting member on every Board of Education in each school district?
I know that when I was a teaching fellow, they actually allowed you to complete your obligations to the state in last years if you taught in certain communities, like rural communities where they didn't have as many teachers.
What if you offered scholarships to students if they would come back and work in your school district as teachers for 5 years, forgiving their college loans? What if you got business and industry to support that kind of return on your investment?
In the University of North Carolina system, there are about 15% less teachers going into teaching this past year than there had been the year before. And I think, you know, 15% doesn't sound like a whole lot, but when you talk about a profession that's already facing a shortage of teachers.
Right now, exploring the possibility of doing a language academy starting in kindergarten. We've had a couple meetings, parent meetings, to see what our interest level is. And if we were able to do the language academy, we would do sort of an A-B schedule. And so on A day, our students in that cohort would be in English all day. You would have 2 classes. One would be in English all day, one would be in Spanish all day, and then the next day they would flip. And that way, when our students get out of that cohort at the end of 5th grade, they would be bilingual.
And that's the opportunity that we're really looking at for our students, is to make them more globally competitive. If they are bilingual by the time they come out of 5th grade, then the opportunity presents itself that they could take that 3rd language as they're going into middle school or high school.
And we found out we're feeding a lot into NC State and into the ag programs. We decided to add animal science as one of our CTE classes. Have that class running this year, and we're actually building a barn out back that will be up and running when we start school next year.
Our goal is for every elementary student in Moore County to go home with 5 books to read. I just sort of plugged that in there.
Show a little inspiration, show a little spark, show the things that drew me to you the story